All right, thank you very much for joining. This is a ClicData webinar, tracking operational metrics for your restaurants and coffee shops. My name is Tomo Silva. I'm the CTO here at ClicData. And with me today, we have Sri Neve, VP of Customer Services.
Hi, everyone.
And as well, if you have any issues, if you see my mouth moving but no sound is coming out, please use our chat. I hope everybody can see me, everybody can see Sri and the presentation as well. There's going to be a live demo or at least some live screen sharing. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website within 24 hours of it ending. You can ask questions or tweet on our channel, but you can also post them on the chat. It is a moderated chat. And I will interrupt Sri along the line with your questions or towards the end. With that said, we're moving on. We're going to quickly go over who we are in case you haven't heard of us. We're going to talk about our solution, our platform a little bit, talk about how we get insights and watch these KPIs related to the hotel industry, a live dashboard. Sri is going to get on that, and a few other examples in related sectors, as well to trigger an automated alerts, Q&A. But like I said, you can ask your questions throughout the webinar, and I will squeeze those in as I see fit there when Sri has some time. So just to get started, a few words about ClicData. We are a true end-to-end BI platform, 100% cloud. We have connectors that allow you to connect data from a wide variety of data sources, from databases to files to APIs. Some of these connectors are smart connectors. They understand the data. But either way, we also make you and produce a data warehouse in any of the Microsoft Azure data centers around the world. And we also have an editor of dashboards and soon of reports as well before the end of the year. And we allow all this to be automated in a fast and efficient way, resulting in much faster implementations. You also have a lot of time savings on recurrent reporting because there's no interfaces. The platform understands that if the data changes, the dashboards changes, and all the dependencies between them. So there's less interfaces to manage, less code to tweak, and so forth. And hopefully we have seen this over time that in terms of the fact that you have this reporting in place and automated, hands-off, that you get some increase in additional revenue from this. We hope to see this average increase over time as things automate. With that said, I'm not going to give you a big spiel on ClicData. If you do not know about ClicData, about us, please do visit our website at www.clicdata.com. I'm sure you've seen it since you've registered for this webinar. So with that said, Sri, over to you.
Thanks, Dharma, for the introduction. So I think the first and foremost question is, why do you need a dashboard solution? You're running a restaurant, you're running a hotel. What is the dashboard solution going to help you? So the way we thought about this is when we approach different restaurants and we're working with different clients from different restaurants, we try to understand if there are failures in the industry, why do these failures happen? So going through some research articles, we found there are the top 5 reasons why restaurants end up failing is either inconsistent quality, lack of financial management, having a very complex menu, lack of marketing efforts, or lack of resource management. What it boils down to is if you have a close look at 4 out of these 5, except the inconsistent quality, all of them could be resolved because of data. If you had an idea of what needs to be changed on your menu, you know you won't have a complex menu. If you had a clear vision of where your financial KPIs are going on your restaurant, you would be able to manage your financials in a much better way. Or if you had a sense of what are you doing on the marketing side and how is it affecting the total number of covers I'm getting in the restaurant, you would be better at marketing management. And so resource management as well, in terms of when do you add more staff to the restaurant? When do you not have enough staff in the restaurant? What are the peak hours? What are the off-peak hours? So everything that relates here in the top 5 failures could more or less be visualized in a easy way through a dashboard, and hopefully you could make some operational decisions that could help you resolve this. And that's why you need a dashboard solution or a solution that allows you to understand this data. And in order to address this challenge, we understand that running a restaurant is not an easy job. It's a time-consuming task, and being a restaurateur or being an owner or working in a restaurant, you want to focus on the food on the plate rather than numbers. That's what your core business is. You focus on the quality of food that goes out, focus on running your restaurant, and let someone else take care of the numbers. And that's where ClicData comes into play. We can provide you with timely insights. We can help you make those data-driven decisions, and we can help you actually grow your operation with results rather than intuition or feeling on what needs to happen. So how do we do that? How can we address these challenges for the restaurant? The first and foremost thing is trying to get all your data in a single place. That is the most important thing. You need to create a data warehouse for the restaurant. You would ask, why? Why do I need a data warehouse? Most restaurants, they're not simple organizations anymore. You don't have manually written bills that you hand out and a simple Excel sheet which contains all your numbers. You have a plethora of systems. You have a point of sale system. Your point of sale system is storing your orders, storing your inventory, storing your payments, your covers, menu items. A lot of things that are happening on your point of sale that you and the staff at the restaurant is using on a daily basis. But most restaurants today, they do delivery. And now adding to the delivery, you don't have one delivery partner. You have Deliveroo, you have Uber Eats, you have Careem, you have Zomato. Every region in the world has their own delivery partners, and they are giving you insights. They're giving you different sort of data. Then you have different payment partners because you accept credit cards, you accept debit cards. You might end up with payment partners such as Square or Clover, or you might have your financials on QuickBooks for accounting purpose. And this is all for one restaurant. Imagine doing this for a franchise, or if you're running multiple restaurants, the number of systems is just going to grow exponentially. So that's the foremost thing. You need one place, which could be a data warehouse. And what ClicData offers you is a connection to everything. As long as you use one of the systems that we have a native connector for, we can connect to it. If you have a system with an API, we can connect to it. We connect to a lot of POS systems like Square, Clover, Shopkeep, Toast, PayPal, any top POS system that you're using. And even if it's a regionally modified POS system like Revel or Post-it, we also connect to those because they have an API and we have an API connector. And as I mentioned earlier, that we're not focused on giving you insights on how your restaurant revenue is doing, but we also want to understand what's happening with your marketing. So we do connect to Facebook, we do connect to LinkedIn, Twitter. So if you're running campaigns on Twitter or you're running campaigns on Facebook, we can connect to them and get the insights on how these campaigns are positively or negatively impacting the restaurant footfall. We connect to the billing systems, and at the end, after every order or after every cover, you end up taking surveys and understanding, are your customers satisfied? So in a way, we also want to address that first issue that most of the restaurants have is inconsistent quality. We are trying to make sure that you capture that information and also display it in an efficient way. In order to get these, so if you're able to connect to all these different data sets, a question might arise, what kind of insights would I get? So we could get a finance and marketing information. As I mentioned earlier, how is your marketing campaign affecting your followers growth? Or is the number of followers increasing on Instagram actually corresponding to the number of people coming into the restaurant? Is that making a positive impact? Or should I be doing something else? Maybe within your region, Instagram reach does not help so much, and you might have to go with a pamphlet distribution or a word of mouth or an email campaign specifically targeted to citizens within close vicinity. An interesting thing could be looking at how is weather impacting your sales. are summer days better in terms of restaurant sales because you have a patio outside the restaurant and people come in more during summer days? Or is winter affecting the sales because it's snowing and people are not coming to the restaurant? So trying to get these insights would allow you to not just understand the revenue, but also manage your restaurant on a day-to-day basis. So in terms of not just connecting to the rest data sets, we think that connecting to a data set is great, but if you cannot automate the whole process, that's no point again. We need to connect to it and make sure that the data is live so you can take timely insights. And that's why we also have this feature called as data refresh and automation, where you could go ahead and set up data refreshes for everything that you're connecting on ClicData. This will allow you to get daily reports, every minute report, weekly reports, and even monthly marketing metrics so that you can understand which are the best-selling products, which are the most profitable items, so you can keep on refining your menu in a much efficient way. This is a little bit about why you need a solution and how we address the first part of it is getting the data onto ClicData. But we also wanted to go further and talk about after you get the data, what kind of insights can you get from ClicData? What are the insights that would be most meaningful for you? So based on the different issues that we have found out, we thought that these insights would be quite helpful to run the restaurant. The first insight is understanding your traffic. So if you had the total number of guests coming in and the number of tables you had in your site, you can easily create a chart which displays the average number of guests and average number of tables occupied at any point of time. With this, you can identify what are the peak hours. So I can clearly see on this chart, typically 12 p.m. is a peak hour, and then again from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Maybe the dinner time is longer, and I have peak hours again during those times and during lunchtime. The rest of the times, it's fairly normal. It's not such peak hour, and maybe I could take decisions in terms of staff management. But can we take decisions just based on this data? We should also look at what's happening with your resources. What are the total number of waiters that you're having at any point of time? And based on the insights that we have gotten from the previous example, what would be the target number of waiters that you would need so that you can efficiently manage your restaurant and make sure that your resource management issues are taken care of? So this could again be addressed using a simple chart of number of waiters by hour, trying to understand that. In terms of understanding the revenue and complexity on the menu, I think the best way to look into that is what are the top selling products. You not just look at the sales by category, like which categories are selling better, but within those categories, what are the top 5 products that are selling better? Based on what is selling better, you could take decisions if you want to remove certain menu items because maybe in the last 2 weeks, no one is ordering that. Or maybe in the last 6 months, you've noticed that there are only few people who have ordered those 2 or 3 menu items that you have. Just removing the menu items not only helps you to make your menu more simple, but it also helps you focus on what are the most selling items, and hopefully the people coming to the restaurant would continue to order them, but it will also help you manage your inventory. Could be that you're ordering a lot of inventory for the items that are not selling. And with the dashboard, you can quickly identify which items are selling and make sure that you also manage your inventory and only get this inventory of ingredients that you are actually selling the most rather than ordering everything. If you're managing, let's say, multiple restaurants, not just one location, we wanted to address what happens if you're managing different franchisees. You do want to see, based on a chart, how each of your locations are doing. Here we just named location 1 to 9, and we have a daily chart, so we can quickly understand what is the sales amount by each location and by each weekday. Which location is doing better compared to the other locations? That would help you take long-term decisions, either add more resources to the locations that are working well, either expand those locations, add more tables to it. At one point of time, if you need to take decisions on which locations to shut down, again, this chart would help you to go back and look into which locations are doing well and try to take operational decisions accordingly. We also saw, while working with a few other restaurants, that weather does play a very important role in how the sales are happening, but not just weather. If you have events and if you have holidays, that impacts your sales as well. So a chart that could display a weather for a particular time. If you're looking at this particular chart on the screen, we are talking about Fridays and we're looking at the last 5 Fridays. We could see on the last 5 Fridays, this May 27th was a national holiday, and definitely the sales was more because it was a national holiday. Or on June 10th, we had a bingo night. So again, the sales increased. So that way you could understand what kind of events you could do in your restaurants along with your weather and how does that impact your sales. So in future, you could host more such events. You could try to have specials during holidays, and based on the trend, you can continue either adding more events or adding similar events to increase traction on your restaurant.
And Sri, just a quick question here. Is this, can this be somehow combined with machine learning or like forecasting or predictive analytics in terms of if we know what events around our neighborhood or around the restaurant or the bar, meaning, for example, if they know that there's events going in the summer and they have the dates, can they start putting this in some kind of a predictive or at least some forecasting model?
Yeah, absolutely. I think once you have enough data in terms of, so for this particular chart, we ended up using data from 3 different sets. We had AccuWeather giving us weather information. We had a government holiday list giving us what are the national holidays. And then we had the event list along with the QuickBooks information to get the sales. So we can create a simple table that contains all these columns. And once we have these simple table, we can run a few models against it, maybe use a regression model and try to identify which parameters or which variables affect the sales the most. And once you have the model ready, you could even try to import future dates, and you already have the future holidays. You kind of get future forecasts from AccuWeather as well. See if there are certain events that you could hold, and that could have a positive impact on the sales. So yes, to answer the question in short, I think I went all about, but it is possible because now you have all these data combined into a single place where you didn't have that before. And with that, you should be able to predict future changes as well.
Great, thank you.
To end, kind of what are the key insights that you should be looking at as a restaurant owner? Talking with a few of those, we know that they're always interested to understand one key thing: what is my break even, or when is my break even? We understand running a restaurant, the initial few months or years are always difficult because there's an upfront heavy capital investment that you put in, and then you're waiting for that investment to be covered up before you actually start making profits, along with all the expenses that you're doing on a regular basis, either renovating the place, either getting more groceries, more inventory onto it, adding more stuff. So having one place where you can run your financial analysis and understand what is the break even, how much income you should generate, or how long will it take to break even is also important. And using a dashboard solution, you would not only be able to do operational analysis, but you'll also be able to understand when do you break even and when do you start actually generating profit for your restaurant. So you could take decisions on opening new restaurants accordingly, or you could even take decisions on reducing some expenses or trying to increase average covers per month or average covers per table, average order per cover to kind of achieve this break even faster. We ended up creating a live dashboard as well, just to illustrate a sales KPI. This is a sales dashboard that we wanted to showcase operationally what kind of KPIs you could look, which are sales focused. If you're looking at it, if you want a dashboard that you can get every morning to understand what happened yesterday or what happened today, we have an example that we can showcase. Let me go ahead and open that example. Okay. Telmo, can you confirm if you could see my screen? Just want to make sure that the screen is still there.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. So this is an example where we're trying to understand a sales summary perspective. What's the total revenue we were generating this year? Not just this year, but how does it compare to last year as well? Are we doing better than last year? We have different categories in a restaurant. Typically, you'll have a dine-in, you'll have delivery partners, and you'll have takeaway. How many covers are you handling? How many orders are you handling with delivery or takeaway? And what's your average spend per order? So you could understand if you need to focus more on dine-in, if you need to focus more on delivery. If one delivery partner is doing better than the other, you could take those decisions as well. You could look at total revenue by month trend to see which months perform better. Seems like this restaurant, April was the month that they typically do better. Maybe they have summer days out there and they end up doing better in summers. Understanding your revenue by sessions as well. If you're open for breakfast, dinner, and lunch, do you want to continue being open for all of them? And if you want to continue doing that, what is the total revenue you're generating by each session? Not just by sessions, but also by type. If you're getting more from dine-in, if you're also doing retail in the restaurant, how much percentage of your total revenue is coming from retail? At the end, we have a chart that distributes all the events and retails that are happening and by different sessions. For breakfast, what's the average revenue you're generating? For lunch, what's the average revenue you're generating for all the different locations? So here you can have a quick look at the different locations and take some decisions again if you want to keep continuing with certain locations versus other. To summarize, I think the ClicData has a product allows you to create n number of dashboards. It is going to give you a platform to connect to different data sets. It's going to give you a platform to consolidate that and really take quick and timely decisions for running a restaurant. We think that if restaurant owners do take timely decisions, the less chances of failures of a restaurant and the higher chances that they would succeed and try to get more revenue out of it. We also wanted to talk a little bit more other than restaurants, not just focus on restaurant. We understand that for the webinar, we might have people from the hospitality industry, and they want to see how do we run hotels rather than restaurants. So we have a dashboard which is more focused on hotels, where we're looking at the average occupancy rate or what's the RevPAR that has been generated. And we're not just looking at individual hotels, but you have multiple data companies that provide you averages for other hotels in the same vicinity or in the same category, which you can buy, and you can start benchmarking how your hotel is doing compared to the other hotels in the same group or in the same category. Are you better than that, or is there something that you're missing out which others have easily figured out? How can you achieve that particular occupancy rate to keep on going with your hotel and making sure your hotel beds are full at any point of time? Another dashboard we want to show is a hotel KPI dashboard. Again, it's kind of a monthly focused report where you want to see what happened for that particular month at my hotel. How much revenue did I generate from rooms? How much revenue did I generate from food and beverages? What's the daily revenue I'm getting? What's my daily occupancy rate? Which days are better occupied? Is it mostly weekends, or Is Friday also good, or Thursday is also good? Should I get more staff on Thursdays or Fridays? Or should I increase my rates on the weekend, because typically there's a tendency to get filled up on the weekends, and increasing the rates on the weekend might allow me to get more revenue with the same occupancy, and maybe decreasing the rates on weekdays might help me boost my occupancy rate, but also generate the same revenue. So those are the decisions you could make by looking at a monthly dashboard and focusing on industry standard KPIs on what other hospitality or what other hotels are also tracking. And the last one we want to talk about, we spoke a little bit about customer surveys and customer satisfaction. How satisfied are your customers? You want to understand that, be it a restaurant, be it a cafe, or be it a hotel, at the end of each transaction, there's a survey that could go in, and you could collect information. You could understand if you're doing month over month better, or you could also compare yourself with industry benchmarks again and see what is a typical intent of recommending this property in my category or in my area. And if it is 74%, is my property doing better than that 74%? Are people going to recommend my property when they step out of the property? These are some of the examples that you could end up building as a restaurant owner, as a hotel owner. I hope that you guys enjoyed looking at some of the examples that we've done on ClicData. I do want to go back to Telmo and see if there are any questions that you would want me to handle at this stage.
No, there was a discussion in terms of a quick question, but I'd like to translate it into a wider question, which was some of the data that comes from, for example, hotels or point of sale systems are systems that are potentially owned by a company. How easy is it to access, for example, the data in those systems? Or if you're using, for example, a food distribution like Uber Eats or Deliveroo, etc., do those vendors make the data easily available to restaurant owners or to hotel owners? Or have you had any challenges getting to that data?
Not with the POS systems. I think working with POS system, most vendors allow you to get the data because that's the product they're selling, and they want you to make sure that you have the data that you're collecting on POS system. With delivery partners, it might be a challenge at times. It is proprietary data, and they want to make sure that they can protect it and they don't provide all the data to you. But using an efficient POS system is the answer here. No matter what delivery partner you go with, as long as your delivery partners go through the same POS system, you would be able to achieve that data from the POS rather than delivery partners and relying on someone else. Although, even with that, your delivery partners are going to give you some basic information, so you could complement that information with your POS system to get better insights. That's how I'd take it.
Thank you.
Okay. That's good. So I'll move on to the next piece. I think we spoke about how to get connected to different data sets or how to create dashboards. Typically, dashboards are consumed on a daily basis, weekly basis, and I would say a shortcome of a dashboard is it's reliant on someone to go in and check the report and then take action, because if someone doesn't check the report, they won't take actions on it. So what we're trying to do with alerts is we also want to provide you a way to get active alerts rather than waiting for someone to go and look at a dashboard and then take a decision. You need to be notified when inventory is out of stock, or if you're not reaching a specific daily target, you need to be notified at that particular point of time. Or let's say a menu item has not been sold for 6 months. You don't want someone to look at the dashboard and then figure out a year later that, oh, this menu item was not sold for 6 months. ClicData also provides you with alert mechanism where you can set up different rules, and we would send you alerts based on those certain rules. If a menu item is not sold for more than 100 transactions, you want to be notified. Or if you if you see there's understaffing or you're running low on inventory for a particular ingredient, but it's the most ordered ingredient, you again want to be notified about that. And with the alerting system, you can close the loop on the whole dashboarding process where you can actively get involved with what is happening with your business and quickly take those decisions. So with this, I'll end my presentation and I'll open the ground for more question and answers.
Before you check out for the day on the webinar, at least, I think this was a follow-up question to the previous one. What about PMS systems? Now, I don't know enough about this sector that we're talking about, but PMS systems to me was project management systems. But I'm assuming here we're talking about payment management systems potentially. So what about getting data from payment management systems? Is there or hotel systems? I've been corrected here. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So depends. I think I don't have much experience working with hotel management system. At least with payment management systems, what we've worked in the past is Clover and PayPal. Those are Square. Like those are typical payment systems that we worked with. And as long as they have an API, the simple answer is if the application has an API, we can connect.
Yeah, I knew payment management systems is something, but I think PMS in this context is property management systems or hotel systems. So I do recall working on one project specifically for a large chain that such a large chain that they had their own internal system. So that was easy to work with because it's their own system. If the hotel group or the hotels are working with a proprietary third-party system, I think in many senses depends on the relationship and on the agreement or contract that they have with those property management systems. I'm guessing whether they make that data available to you as a property owner or not, right?
And and we've also it makes more sense now, property management systems. So I do recollect working with few clients as well, and I think one of the clients we were working with, they had to buy data. So sometimes it could be as simple as going to your property management system and asking them to get the data, but they're probably going to charge you for the data you want to retrieve, for what data range you want to retrieve. But at the end, it's definitely a good use of that money that you're spending, because you would get much better insights with the data that you're going to receive from that property management system. And most likely, they'll also give you some industry benchmarks for you to compare with.
Do some of those systems as well, I found in the past when there was this barrier to getting data from those systems, whether because the data is valuable commodity for them or whether they themselves did not have APIs or definitely open the database up for the different property owners, was maybe the system does have some kind of an export facility that allows to email the report directly to ClicData, where we get the email with the export attachment and be able to load that data automatically or semi-automatically. So that's something else that maybe that's of interest potentially to view. I don't have any more questions here on the chat. With that said, Sri, thank you very much for this. This has been great. There's a couple more questions. I will answer them privately. And again, if you thank you for watching. Thank you for being present. If you want to get more questions, please feel free to send us some emails. And if you want to try it, you have the URL addresses right there. Stay in touch. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.